think they've taken a very bold, ambitious effort, which is part of what makes Silicon Valley great, right? We have these incredible entrepreneurs who think big, think outside the box. I think it was a little bit, maybe more than just ambitious, maybe a little bit arrogant to take the approach of, hey, we're going to build, the white paper articulates a new currency. I think the US dollar actually works pretty well. One of the things I tweeted last week is a moment where I agree with the president on this. Like, we don't need a new fiat currency, the G20, the dollar, the pound, the yen. There might be some, smaller markets where the Argentinian peso, that might make sense. But I think that's a longer tail. And I just think the way they rolled it out, as we saw, there's a lot of turbulence, a lot of headwinds. This will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Now, Kurt, we talked a lot last week about the level of skepticism and ire, one lawmaker comparing it to 9/11 and the level of danger.
Right.
But what's happening now? Now that this hearing has happened, what's next?
Well, that's up to kind of Facebook to figure out, because they've announced, hey, we have this group of 28 different partners that are going to be part of the Libra Association that actually oversees this currency. But right now, there's no charter for that organization. There's no payments that have been made. And so at this point, it's just kind of a continue to talk about regulation, but also on Facebook's side, they need to get their team together here to actually get this moving forward, because right now it's just a white paper. It's an idea, but it's not actually something that's, tangible.
Now, Brad, do you think that regulators will let Libra happen in the U.S.?
Look, I think Facebook had conversations with regulators before they announced the white paper, and some of those regulators I know had expressed concerns, and I don't think Facebook really did enough to mitigate that and to really make them feel comfortable. It's very important to both the U.S. government and governments around the world that financial regulation matters. Know your customer and anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist financing. These are important foundational pieces of our financial system, and we need to make sure that the future constructs keep those in mind. And again, I think that the only danger that's happening right now is that legitimate projects working on taking advantage of crypto to solve real problems get caught in the crossfire a little bit, because you're seeing, even the president came out and tweeted, I don't like cryptocurrencies. Well, that's a little like saying I don't like an internet company in 1997. There's lots of different shapes and sizes. What Ripple is obviously doing is with banks, with regulators. It's almost the antithesis of how Libra is really approaching the effort.
So there are some who've said that if Libra succeeded, that wouldn't be good for Ripple. That would reduce Ripple's opportunities. Is there truth to that?
No, actually, I look at Libra. Facebook's a consumer company, and when they think about the problem they're solving, I think it's very much a consumer-oriented problem. What Ripple's doing is at the institutional level. We're connecting banks. If anything, and I said this publicly, we had one of the best weeks we've had in our history the week Libra was announced, because it's a call to action from banks. David Marcus came out and said, hey, this is the end of Western Union. Well, that's an assault on the financial sector, and we've taken the opposite approach. Well, let's work with the system, because the regulations are enforced at that point. And again, I just think we can't paint this one big broad brush, particularly at the U.S. government level, where you have technologies like Bitcoin and Ether that are controlled by Chinese miners.
You work with a lot of banks. What do they think of the Libra Association? And would you ever work with the Libra Association?
Well, I think what you saw happen, and Kurt kind of alluded to this, a lot of people signed up, the 28 members signed up kind of with it was just an LOI. There was no money changing hands. There was no hard commitment. And so they wanted to have a seat at the table and hear what was going on. I even think it'll be interesting to see, do the 28 that have signed up continue to participate? I think it's too early to tell, but I do think it was very noteworthy that there weren't any banks and financial institutions as a part of that 28, because again, I think it's kind of an assault on that system, which is ambitious to say the least.
Now, Kurt, there have been reports that there's been skepticism among the partners who've already signed on to this project. What are we hearing about that, especially since last week?
Well, they're not saying anything publicly, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns, quite frankly, is that Facebook is really out here taking the beating a little bit by itself for a project that they claim is a, they are a co-founder with many other companies. So if I'm Facebook, I'm sitting here going, hey, are you guys in or not? Because we could use a little support out there. But with the banks, Bloomberg has reported that Facebook and others in the association are out talking to banks right now. They want them to be part of those members, because I think it does add a level of legitimacy to this whole effort if they can have banking partners on board. But right now, I think if you're Facebook, the biggest challenge is just getting those people to actually say something publicly so they put their name behind what they're doing.
So, Brad, on another topic, Bank of America, there's been reports that Bank of America has taken out a patent that suggests it's using the Ripple ledger for its currency transactions. Can you comment on that?
I saw that.
Can you confirm or kill the speculation?
I can neither confirm nor kill. Look, we are, I think, widely known to be working with a lot of banks around the world, and certainly some of the largest banks already are in the world are customers of ours today. And we'll continue working with big banks around the world. And I too was surprised by that patent application because we have not announced anything.